Καλημέρα, ευχαριστώ. Εγώ είμαι Ofer Reshef. Δεν μιλάω ελληνικά, so I'm going to speak in English, but it's still a bit better than Hebrew. I hope you appreciate it. I'm here to give you my 2 cents about Israeli investors here in Greece. By the way, this image I created with AI is supposed to simulate some kind of journey from Jerusalem to Athens. So, I don't know, it's interesting, but I guess AI still has a way to go. So, I'm here to give you as I said, my 2 cents about Israeli investors in Greece, and just a little disclaimer, everything, or most of what I'm going to talk about is obviously my subjective experience and point of view. A couple of words about myself and our company, Arledan Group. We are a private investment firm, obviously based in Jerusalem, Israel. We are focused on real estate investment in several territories, the US, Germany, Spain, and we've been investing here in Greece, in Athens, since 2018. This is just a peep to our project in Kukaki, a plot of land which we own right in the center of Kukaki, and we are planning there luxury residential project. Besides speaking to you here today, I'm here also looking for potential partners for any interesting opportunities for joint ventures and co-investment. So I'm happy to speak to anyone about this. So now, who are these Israeli investors that we are talking about? So generally speaking, I try to divide them to 4 typecasts, okay? One is the individual, okay, the private investor. The second, the small, medium investor. Thirdly, large companies and institutional. And finally, real estate agents. Let's zoom in on these different types of investors. So we have a lot of private people, individuals coming to Greece looking to buy basically a small apartment. Their budget is usually around 100K euros, and their goals are quite simple. They would aim at a net annual yield of around 5 to 6%, possibly some capital gains at the end of the way. The challenges with this type of investors, obviously lack of knowledge about the market. They would have limited time and maybe lower confidence, and they would need someone to hold their hand through the process. The advantages with this type of investors: you have a single decision maker, so the whole process is easier. And of course, an apartment is not the most difficult product to sell, I would say. Quite simple. Next, we have the small medium investor. So we have different examples. These are quite diverse, I would say. I would include ourselves in this category. Okay, you have different types of investors. Some of them are entrepreneurs looking for plots of land or old buildings to refurbish. They would usually, their budget is, let's say, above $500,000 and up to around 5 million, and they would normally have well, more ambitious financial goals they would look to achieve. I'm just, you know, I named this number 13% IRR, but the general idea is that they are looking for more significant gains. The challenges are, well, supposedly you'd have a tougher negotiation. Another issue is whether these investors actually have the funds behind them. I guess sometimes some of these entrepreneurs might be coming and looking for properties, maybe even making some sort of a soft commitment and not really having the funds available. So this is another question to ask. Then finally, these are larger deals, and this is obviously a potential in terms of the returns for realtors. And the clients would usually be more professional with more knowledge. Next, we have the large companies or institutional. So examples of such Israeli investors that have been involved in here in Athens in the last few years are, for example, Fatal Hotels, Brown Hotels, so some hoteliers. They would usually look for even larger projects, sometimes above 5 million. And their goal is more of a strategic goal. So again, to open a hotel and operate it long term. The challenges here, again, we are talking about very big deals. So obviously the deal flow is for the deals of this type is smaller. It's the decision process is obviously more lengthy, it's more complicated, and you have to work a lot on each deal. But finally, you know, if you manage to close such a deal as a real estate agent, the commission would be generous. So my bottom line about the one last typecast that we have is the realtor. Obviously, there are a lot of real estate agents coming here from Israel, basically to expand their product that they can market to Israeli investors. And their goal is obviously to generate more deal flow for themselves. The challenge with these realtors is, well, what do they really have the clients behind them, or are they just coming to see the properties, to view the properties? And also that you have to reach some kind of commercial agreement about commission sharing. On the other end, there is potential for growth. Okay, so potential is, it goes both sides. It's a potential for the Greek local real estate agent to expand the client side, the client pool, and for the Israeli real estate agent, they can expand again their product offer. So my bottom line about the different typecasts of investors is know your client, so know who you are speaking to. And I told you that this presentation is based on my subjective experience, but even in the meetings I had here in the couple of days that I've been here, I met with one of the exhibitors, and she immediately started trying to sell me an apartment, you know, in one of the projects. And obviously, I'm not buying an apartment, so it's okay. I'm not offended, but it's important to know who you are talking to. Okay, so these are the different typecasts. Now, why do they come here? Why do they come to Greece? So I'm going to talk about pooling factors, okay? And the pooling factors are the motivations, the local motivations to come to Greece. So first of all, I think the initial trigger for let's say, the first wave of Israeli investors was obviously the financial crisis, where you had money on the floor, so to speak. Okay, there were very significant opportunities. As I said, we came here on 2018, so we missed the lowest of the low, or the low of the lowest. And but the people, the investors that were brave enough to come here at, say, 2015, 2016, they had some very significant opportunities to make money very quickly. So this was just the initial trigger, but then I guess that following this trigger, people understood that there is a further opportunity here, and they decided to stick to the market. The next thing was obviously the high yield that this market offers. Okay, there's a high yield here with low risk. I have to put a small footnote about this, because I don't know if this is still going to continue with current interest rates rising. I mean, the opportunity is not going to be as attractive as it used to be, but let's discuss further in a second. So normally in Greece, the Israeli investors could expect reaching 5 to 6% net yield on residential, on investment in residential apartment, while in Israel you'd get around half of that. Okay, in Israel the market is 2 to 3% yield, so making the market here significantly more attractive. As I said, the interest rates are rising, and the fact that they are rising means that the Israeli investors have new alternatives. So this is something to take into consideration when talking about 5 to 6% yield. This was very attractive a few years ago, but right now 5 to 6% yield is something that maybe sometimes you can reach with an almost, I wouldn't say risk-free, but very low risk investment in bonds, for example. So there is a question mark here, but at least in the last few years, this was a major pulling factor. Secondly, we have a low entry barrier. Okay, how much does a normal, straightforward apartment in Tel Aviv cost? The average two-bedroom apartment in Tel Aviv currently is 850,000 euros. Okay, this is crazy. I'm sure you agree with me, but this is the reality. While in Athens, you have candies. You can find the two-bedroom apartment for as low as 125, maybe even lower. I just tried to take something average. I hope that you don't disagree with me. So the entry barrier is very low. It's very easy. You know, there are many people in Israel that have this kind of cash available. And obviously, you know, I talked about interest rates rising. So in Israel, hardly anyone buys an apartment without a mortgage. So, but still, even with a mortgage, you'd have to have above, I would say, 400,000 euros to buy such an apartment in Tel Aviv. Here you can get it full equity, only cash, 125. It's very easy. So very low entry barrier. Next, there's a capital gains opportunity. So honestly, the capital gains opportunity existed in Israel as well, because in Israel, as I will show later, prices kept going up. But obviously, people saw a much bigger opportunity here in Greece as the prices went so low. And we can see that even now, prices are still 15% below pre-crisis peak. Okay, this is taken from Bank of Greece. So we see that we are still not at the top peak. Next, there's the geographic proximity. Obviously, it's very easy to come here. It's just a 2-hour flight. There are several daily flights, so everything is very easy. It's very close to Israel. Another thing, cultural similarity. I put these few photos. Some of these are Greeks, some of these are Israelis. We even look alike, I think. Many times I'm being confused for Greek. And also, when meeting one of the exhibitors here, she told me, well, no offense to anyone, but she told me, I worked with Americans, I can't do it anymore. I connect to Israel as well. So I think there is some kind of, I guess, Mediterranean cultural connection. So these are additional pulling factors. Pushing factors. What's pushing people out of Israel? So obviously, real estate prices are skyrocketing. Unfortunately, it looks like it's never going to stop. You see that currently it seems like there is some kind of stop with the latest events in Israel and the interest rates rising again. But even now, I must tell you that, well, in the last few weeks, we feel that the market in Israel is waking up again. We had kind of a stop. I mean, there were hardly any transactions at all, in particular in comparison to previous years. But we have a a development company, a subsidiary of ours in Israel that has a stock of several dozens apartments, and sales are coming back now. So I'm not even sure that prices are going to still stop, freeze, and probably they will not go down significantly anyway, because the issue that we have in Israel is inherent to the market, that we have a serious lack of supply, that we are not being able to answer. So the demand is, all the time, the demand is higher than the supply, and this is the reason that we see the prices coming up. Who knows what's going to happen next, but for now this is the situation. Another pushing factor, of course, is the geopolitical situation in Israel. You know, we are, well, it's not as dangerous as it looks here. I don't want to hurt the reputation of Israel, but still Israel is in constant conflict, and some people want to run away from this. And lately we also had issues of change of regime. You've probably heard that we had a lot of riots in Israel as the government is trying to change the basic understandings of democracy. So geopolitical factors are pushing us out, and well, I gotta say it with a smile, you know. It's not that the politics in Greece are that great, but still they look a bit better in comparison to Israel, I guess. This is where we are. Another pushing factor, we have the tech-enriched middle class. There is, as you, I'm sure you know, there are huge tech investments in Israel, so there is a whole new middle class with a lot of cash available, and these people are looking for investment alternatives. So this is something that is definitely pushing people to new directions. Yeah, waves are coming up, so this is what I'm talking about. This is the average wage 10 years back in Israel. As you see, it's rising all the time, so people have more cash available, and they are looking all the time for interesting investment opportunities. Cost of living is crazy in Israel. It's going up all the time. Inflation is on the rise. This is also something that's pushing people out of Israel. So some challenges and mitigations for Israeli people coming to invest in Greece. I'm not sure that these are exclusive to Israeli investors, but this is my personal experience anyway. So first and foremost, lack of transparency. Okay, this is the biggest issue for me as an investor here in Greece. Let's say if the US is the top market, the US and the UK are the top markets for transparency when investing. You know, you get, when you get an investment opportunity brochure or such, you get already all the materials ready for you. You have everything, you know, all the comparable properties and everything. Here in Greece, not only you don't get any comparable information, but you have to start researching the market, and you have to go out in the street and speak to each and every real estate agent to understand what is the market around here. And even then, you are not sure what's going on. So it's very difficult. I've met here with Prosperity, so I know that there are some new tools for this. So hopefully, the real estate agents can use these tools. Okay, so the mitigation is be transparent and flood your clients with information. Next challenge is the issue of corruption and black money. For us as foreign investors, it's very difficult. You know, when you come upon these things, you immediately feel insecure. You don't want to be involved in a foreign country in this type of issues. So my advice to you, to real estate agents, my advice is keep your well, first of all, my advice is don't do these things wherever it pops up. And next, keep your customers away from this. So, you know, as an investor, I don't want to be involved in this kind of thing. If there is anything like this in a deal, I will stay away from it. I'm not saying that everyone will do the same, but definitely us as a small, medium company, investment company, we will definitely stay away from this. Yeah. So Israeli investors keep coming to the Greek market. I hope that this will continue. And as I said, know your customer. Try to focus on the typecasts relevant to your product. And be aware of the challenges that I mentioned and try to mitigate them. That's it. And transparency is key. This is the most important issue. Thank you very much, Evcharisto Poli. And I'm happy, thank you. I'm happy to speak to, again, any potential partner, and feel free to contact me. And feel free to ask any questions now. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.